It's time to allow our hundreds of unvaccinated nurses back into the workforce, writes Duncan Garner in this week's NBR column. Duncan, thanks for stopping by.
No problems. Good morning.
Hi to you. So, obviously, this has been a situation that's been brewing for a little while, a bit of a debate over the last little while about whether we should be bringing unvaccinated workers back, particularly for nurses. What's your view? Obviously, you think
I
we should?
find the whole thing ridiculous now. We are living amongst the unvaccinated. You know, we've learned to live with COVID, which is, yeah, it's killing people, but they're dying with COVID, not dying of COVID. And there's an entire argument that we are living and working amongst the unvaccinated anyway. No one really knows who's what now, you know. And we have 600 plus nurses who effectively lost their jobs because they wouldn't get vaccinated. And they're sitting at home and ready to go. And we have a workforce crisis in health. There's no doubt about that. They are crying out for workers. We have them available at home. The difference is they're not vaccinated. I just think the government needs to drop its attitude towards them. We've learned to live with COVID. We're living amongst each other now. Getting them back into the workforce, and you've solved half the problem you've got amongst nurses. They're there and they're Kiwi and they're ready to go.
What did you make of the announcement during the week of not going so far as to mandate mask use?
It's pathetic.
Again?
It's a truly pathetic announcement because if they and they're strong on it, you know, they believe that we should be wearing masks, but they'll stop short of mandating them because they're worried about their popularity. So they put the popularity before, you know, what is the worst pandemic of all time, apparently. So I actually think it's weak, and I think it shows how sensitive they are to the popularity debate, and they have to be because you're only in government because you're popular, and you can get kicked out pretty quickly. But it's truly pathetic when you think about it that they want you to wear these things, and they're almost saying that they're a legal requirement, but they stop short of that. But then they say that it's just a bit like a seatbelt in a car. Well, no, they're actually a legal requirement. You get fined for not wearing them. You don't get fined for not wearing a mask. Just come out and do it. Either way. But the ship sailed. You see, the ship sailed because we've relaxed our standards.
Interesting context to all of this as well, as you point out in the column. There's an international survey during the week which ranks New Zealand pretty poorly in terms of expat experience.
Yeah, so expats have been around the world and they're asked the question, what's it like where you are? And we're in New Zealand, we're 51st out of 52. 52 being Kuwait is the lowest and poorest experience. New Zealand's next up. Second worst destination to come as an expat. I never thought we were that bad. I think it's quite a body blow and bad timing, because the timing, of course, is that we're trying to attract foreign workers into New Zealand across every industry I think possible. There's no industry that's not crying out. And there's a survey online that says to the world, don't go there. Maybe choose Australia, Singapore, Indonesia even, places, Turkey. All these different places that are a good experience for expats in terms of high wages, good jobs, lifestyle, cost of living. New Zealand comes out poorly. Cost of living, really expensive rent, not much salary, not much left over to enjoy life. And it's pretty grim. It's a pretty grim sort of half-year report, really.
So where do you think this goes next? Do you think they will ultimately end up letting the unvaxxed?
I would have said yes a while back, but I'm not sure. They look pretty staunch on their opposition towards them. I think they see it as a slap in the face to other New Zealanders, and Jacinda Ardern and Andrew Little look like they won't budge. If you were on your deathbed, I don't think people care. There'll be the odd person that does, but if you're on your deathbed, there's a big earthquake in Auckland City or Wellington City, and 500 people are, missing in the city, in the CBD, and nurses are told to rush into the CBD to look after these people. So they send in the unvaccinated nurses, and you're on your deathbed. Before that nurse treats you, do you ask if they're vaccinated, or do you get the help?
Get the help.
You get the help, and that's the bottom line, isn't it? Nurses are still responsible people.
We've moved a long way from 6 months ago,
haven't we? Though, and you can be sitting beside someone at the rugby in Wellington on Saturday night. You don't know if they're vaccinated or not, do you? No, you wouldn't have any idea. Yet you can do that. So I think it's pig-headed of the government.
Duncan,
yeah.
Thanks very much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you.